just ran across a cool model that I didn't have at my local game store. You know, as I'm diving down this 3D print hole, I run across this guy. It's a resin print, and someone locally prints him out and puts him up there, and that would be this guy behind me, Sin Eater, Trench Crusade. Man, I've been waiting to get this guy, man, here he is. And you know what? We're going to do a little different stuff here. I'm not going to go, I'm going to try and do some metallic medium with some paint on a particular color, and I've got some new bloodwork stuff. Rather than do my my dark burnt red and then red pyro red, I'm gonna stick with this new version, which is a lot nastier. I think today is about experiments, and we're gonna experiment with the blood paint. We're gonna experiment with the metallic medium. Anyway, guys, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. I'll see you guys in there. Alright guys, this is going to be a fun little video here. You know what, we're stepping outside of my little box of norms, and I'm going to try something a little different. And the star of this show, well, there's a couple stars of this show here. We've got this War Paint Blood series, this effect paint, and we also have Pro Acryl Metallic Medium. And this is probably going to be the workhorse here in my eyes. I haven't used this stuff before, but as a rule, my general route for any metallic, especially because this guy calls for a dark metallic, is a dark bronze, and light bronze, and then you would dirty it up from there. And for the blood effects, my general go-to are the Pro Acryl, line, the three reds: Pyro Red, Oxide Red, and Burnt Red, and it looks really terrific. But I haven't done too much with these effect paints in a long time, and I've never done the metallic, so I thought we would try something new together here on the channel. And we're going to be doing probably a little bit of dry brushing for him. But first, just before I forget, I'm going to put this in the airbrush, and I'm going to spray down just to give it a dark green so we can get our dark base, and then we will move in without the metallic, and then we'll move in with the mixtures of metallic here, and then we're going to go with yellow green, and then we're going to go with the bright yellow green, and then obviously if we need to, I've got a little bit of this white gold to top things off. All right guys, this is going to be a fun video. It's all about experimenting, right? All right guys, see you in there. Alright, that's probably the only airbrush work we're going to do, and I just wanted to get it a kind of a dark green tint on there anyway. Nothing big, because I'm going to come back now and we're going to do dry brushing with this metallic medium and the dark yellow green. I think it's going to look really good, and we're going to do a little mixture in here, and I got a little dry brush off to the side, and we're just going to stipple this on, or stipple dry brush, real quick. So we're not going to do any paint strokes on this because I want the shadows underneath to be real dark. Alright, metallic medium. I'm not quite sure how much I should put in here, so I'll just put a little drop for now, and we'll go from there. Got these all mixed up here, or shaken up. I'll just put a little bit in there. I'm not sure. I'll take this not that brush. Let's use this brush here. Alright, so now let's get this mixed up. You put a little bit of thinner in there. Just a couple drops. Alright. Looks pretty good. Alright, let's get this on there and see what it looks like. Quick example, I've got my dry brush here, and I'm going to be dipping it in here, dry brushing a little bit, dried it off on the towel right here. So there you go. Alright, so I actually switched to another brush so I could get in some of the crevices, and I actually mixed a little bit more of that metallic in there, because it wasn't quite coming through. So we're just going to kind of hit it everywhere now. It actually, now you can kind of see that metallic which is what we're looking for. And this is going to be pretty bright actually, and we're gonna bring it back down all over. Get it in those, just jam it in there. Don't be, because this guy's all busted up and nasty, and we're gonna try and keep it that way. So there we go. Now we're getting a little bit of that metallic look, which is what I was wanting. Added a little bit of the just regular yellow green, not the dark yellow green. Added a little bit more of the metallic mix, and oops, let me dry that off just a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, that looks good. It's a little bit brighter. It's exactly what we're looking for. It's got a little bit of that metallic sheen. There we go. Just kind of staying on the higher areas. Not kind of, am. And we can come back with the brush later and do some touch-ups, but that's looking really good. All right, let's move on to the bright yellow green. That's the mixture. I added the bright yellow green and a little bit more of that metallic mix. I don't want to spill it here, but that's what we're looking for here. It's very metallic-y now, and I'm just going to stick to the very high areas of this. All right. Armor is, the base color is pretty much done through the mids and the highlight, and it's not as metallic-y as I would have liked it. I probably should have used a little bit more of the medium, I'm thinking, but that medium really brightened up the paint, and it kind of messed up my rhythm here. But we improvised and we pushed through. I did highlight it out to the yellow green, and it definitely has some metallic. I don't know if you can see that, but in order to make it more metallic-y, I'm going to do some white gold with the brush here and there to make it pop. And I'll be doing all the spikes and stuff like that with white gold as well. And then I think we're going to come back with a little bit of this rust wash to give us some contrast against that green. Anyway, stay tuned for that. But let's get on with the metallic and all the rivets, or not rivets, I keep calling them rivets, all the spikes and bolts and things like that. All right, let's do it. Hey everyone, I just wanted to stop for a second. Hey, you know what? I just wanted to bring up, hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. It's super easy, and it really pushes this channel a long way. It gets me in that algorithm. And also, leave a comment. Any comment. Cool, fun, thumbs up, you know, or I like the color, or I would have chose this color. Anything you would like, I always answer, and I love criticism. Please, go hit that subscribe button too so you don't miss any of my videos. All right, let's get back in there. Now it's very, very metallically. I used this white gold, and I just did exactly where I did the green as I brought it out to the higher areas. I just followed that same pattern with the metallic, and I did all the rivets and spikes and things like that. I think there's a couple more on the arm that I need to get, but man, that looks really good, especially when we get a nice dirty wash on there. And boom, another star of the show. The new blood series that I'm going to put on here to make it look pretty grotesque. Okay, so since that is done, I'm not going to take it any further. I'm really happy with that. I'm going to start getting on to the cape, which I'm actually going to jump back to one of my favorite colors, rubber and rubber highlight, just to keep it drab, just so this body that's torn apart can really shine. So we've got that, and then we've got the hammer, which I'm going to use as well. I'm going to do, rubber. And just to keep it simple, and a little metallic on the chains down there, and we have the skulls to do, and we have a little formula for that, and then the blood work, and we're good. All right, let's keep trucking. We're going to be moving on to our final highlight for this cape. Try to keep it simple. I'm using kind of a thicker brush, but that's okay. And I'm just going to kind of stipple this on the ends, on some high areas, definitely on the ends. You can see up a little bit on the bigger one here, And I may come back later and just use a little white and do some spots to make it really pop. But this guy's supposed to be Grimdark, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I like it. Anyway, let's finish this up. The dark silver on the chainmail down below, I decided to get a dry brush and start get a little bit of that dark silver and just stipple it all over, and it makes it look really, really worn. It looks great. I love it. Perfect. And now we got that cape pretty much done, and now what we're going to do is we're going to move on. Oh, and I did stipple some of this, dry brush the dark silver onto the hammerhead there, and because that's going to have a lot of blood on it, so it doesn't have to be too detailed. I thought about putting, you know, maybe do it red, or I was going to do it bright green, or I was like, no, let's just keep it simple and do a little metallic, and then we're going to get some blood effects. Obviously, I'll highlight some of the, I'll get some silver and highlight that a little bit, but other than that, and I want to get some rust. That again, I want to introduce that rust wash into some of these crevices, so stay tuned for that too. All right, let's do it. Right here, I'm just finishing up the last little highlights on this guy. As you can see, it's turning out really nice, and I'm just keeping it. Just gives it a little bit of that glossy look without having to use any of that, because we're going to still put a little bit of blood on here as well, and that might cover some of this work up that we've done, this beautiful work. All right, but that's all right. As you can see, gotta get, you know, where his limbs are coming off here, or coming off. Neck. Okay, I think now what we need to do is do a little bit of the wash and a little bit of the rust work, and then we're gonna move on to the blood work with the new paints that I've never used here. These war paints, this dry blood and this true blood. And again, don't forget at the end, I always do a matte varnish, so we're gonna see what matte varnish does to this particular blood, because this has a little bit of a gloss to it. So we'll see. A little bit of experimenting today all the way around with the metallics and the new war paints. All right. Alright, there we go. The rust and the agrax mixed together, man, makes him look nasty and dirty. Just what I was looking for. And I'm going to go back and touch up some of those little silver spots just to make it pop. Maybe probably just on the top area, but man, he's looking good. So what's next is the war paints, the blood effects. Pow, right there. We're going to do that, and I'm not quite sure. I've got to definitely let this dry, but I'm not sure. I'm going to try and be very subtle with it, but we'll see. Sometimes I go overboard, but I digress. Anyway, guys, let's let this dry, and then we're going to get on to the blood work, and then we will touch it up. All right, let's do it. Alright, viewer discretion advised. This guy is nasty. This true blood, where is it? This dry blood is, man, it dries nasty and looks coagulated. Wow, there's some pretty cool stuff. I'm impressed. Sometimes, you know, I'm used to that old GW stuff that was just goopy, but this actually has a little bit little bit of flavor. I like it. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get a little bit of this true blood and just put it kind of on the higher areas and in the pools. All right, let's do it. All right, that blood work paint is crazy. It looks really good. It looks absolutely vile, and you know, I guess with the blood we're gonna hit that dark look, because that is brutal. Anyway, all right, let's couple little touch-ups. I'm gonna top a little of those silver on the crown, make those pop a little bit, and maybe get a little bit of white dots down here to just make it pop, just make it stand out just a little bit more. All right, let's do it. We're almost there. All right, there we go. The blood work and the highlights are pretty much down. If you want to call them highlights, I just kind of touched a few things up, hit that cape up, give it a little pop. Man, and you know what? I haven't decided if I want to put a matte varnish over the top. I don't want to mess up that blood effect, but you know what? I think I'm going to give it a shot, and then I can always go back and put a little bit over it. I hope. Fingers crossed, right? All right, let's do it. Well, there you have it. Trench Crusade, Sin Eater. Man, what a cool little model. And I always say it. You know what? I just love models. I think they're all cool. That's why I always say it. But you know what? I was going into this with that metallic, and we had a few hiccups. I wasn't quite sure. I had to add a little more here and there. But it turned out really good, because I could go back with the white gold and the silver and just kind of bring that metallic back out and make it really look like it was beat up metal, this green color. You know what? I wanted to stay away from the tradition. I could have gone dark bronze and all that route. But you know what? This is fun. We're stepping outside of the box. And also, the star of the show for me is this blood stuff. This war paint fanatic, dry blood and deep blood. Man, it really is perfect for these Trench Crusade models. I'm just floored. Really good stuff. I always like to stick to my opaques and do it that way and not get so gaudy with it, but I really like this. Anyway, guys, we have tons more to do. If you want to see more Trench Crusade, you want to see more warp miniatures, you want to see more 40K, you want to see some more Marvel Zombicide, you know what, let me know. Or something new, let me know. I do bolt action, I can do tanks, anything, guys. Anyway, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. And I'll catch you next week.